The training ground was called the Crucible. It was the toughest place in the galaxy. Giant alien cadets ran drills. Their heavy steps shook the ground. They lifted huge weights. They fired laser guns at moving targets. The air smelled of sweat and metal. In one corner, a small human girl tried to stand on a gravity pad. Her name was Alara. The pad increased gravity. It made everything feel 10 times heavier. The alien cadets used it for warm-up. For Alara, it was a mountain. She placed one foot on the pad. Then the other. Her legs shook. She took a small step. Then another. A group of Raxian cadets watched. They had gray skin and 4 eyes. They laughed. "Look at the human," one said. "She walks like a baby bird." Alara heard them. She kept her eyes down. She tried to take another step. Her foot slipped. She fell forward. Her hands hit the hard pad. The impact hurt. The laughter grew louder. "Maybe she is here to clean the floors," another Vraxian joked. Alara pushed herself up. Her knees were scraped. She did not look at them. She focused on the pad. She tried again. This time she made it 3 steps before falling. The cadets shook their heads and walked away. To them, she was a joke. A shadow fell over her. The laughter stopped suddenly. All the cadets stood straight. They went quiet. Alara looked up. Drill Sergeant Krog stood above her. He was huge. He had 4 strong arms. His skin was like dark stone. His eyes were yellow and sharp. He was the most feared instructor in the Galactic Legion. He looked at Alara on the ground. His face showed no emotion. "Get up." His voice was a deep rumble. Alara quickly stood up. She was still shaky. She wiped the dust from her clothes. She kept her eyes low. Krog walked around her. He looked her up and down. All the cadets watched. No one made a sound. "You are Alara," Krog said. It was not a question. "Human. Scientist. Not a soldier." Alara nodded. "Yes, Sergeant." "Why are you here?" Krog asked. He stopped in front of her. "The Galactic Legion is for warriors. For the strong. Look at you." Alara did not answer. She stared at the ground. "Look at me," Krog ordered. Alara slowly lifted her head. She met his yellow eyes. "You are the biggest mistake of this academy," Krog said calmly. His words were like knives. "Your species is weak. Your bones are fragile. Your lifespan is short. You are a joke. A funny little joke in my training hall." Some cadets chuckled softly. Krog did not smile. Alara's face was blank. She did not react. She just looked at him. Her hands were clenched at her sides. Krog leaned closer. His voice dropped to a whisper only she could hear. "You will fail here. You will break. And I will enjoy watching it." He stepped back. He expected to see fear in her eyes. He expected tears. Or anger. Alara did none of those things. She took a slow breath. Then she did something strange. The corners of her mouth moved upwards. A small smile appeared on her face. It was not a happy smile. It was not a friendly smile. It was a quiet, knowing smile. A smile that said she knew something he did not. Krog froze. He had seen many reactions in his life. Fear, defiance, rage. Never this. Never a smile. It was wrong. It was unsettling. The cadets felt it too. The air grew cold. Krog's eyes narrowed. This human was laughing at him? In front of everyone? His anger rose. But he controlled it. He was a professional. "You think this is funny?" Krog said, his voice loud again. "Good. Let's see how you smile tomorrow." He turned to address all the cadets. His voice boomed across the crucible. "Listen, this human thinks she is strong. She smiles at my challenge. So here's my challenge for her." He pointed a thick finger at Alara. "Tomorrow morning, first light, you will run the gauntlet. You will go first. Alone." A wave of shock went through the cadets. The gauntlet was the hardest obstacle course. It had moving lasers, acid pits, crushing walls. Cadets only attempted it after months of training. Many got hurt. No one tried it on their first day. It was suicide. Alara's smile did not fade. It stayed on her face. Fixed. Unmoving, Krog looked back at her. He wanted to see her confidence break. He wanted the smile to vanish. It did not. "Survive the gauntlet," Krog said, "and I will admit I was wrong. Fail, and you'll be sent back to your little human world in shame." He waited for her answer. Everyone waited. Illyria simply gave a small nod, her strained smile still in place. Her eyes locked on his. Krog felt a chill. This was not right. Humans were supposed to be weak. Scared. Not this. He turned and walked away. The cadets slowly went back to their drills, but they kept glancing at Illyria. She stood alone in the middle of the training ground, still smiling at nothing. One cadet whispered to his friend, "Did you see her face? What was that?" "I do not know," the friend whispered back, "but it scared me." The sun began to set. The sky turned orange. Illyria finally moved. She walked slowly toward the barracks. Her steps were light. Her mind was somewhere else. She knew what was coming tomorrow. The gauntlet, a test designed to break the strong. But Illyria had a secret she kept hidden deep inside, a secret her body knew, a secret that made her smile when others would cry. Tomorrow, Sergeant Krog would see her secret. Tomorrow, the real test would begin, and the galaxy would never see humans the same way again. The morning air was cold. A pale sun rose over Crucible. The training ground was silent. All the alien cadets stood in neat rows. They did not speak. They did not move. Their eyes were fixed on one person. Illyria stood at the starting line of the gauntlet. The gauntlet was a nightmare made real. It stretched for half a mile. First, there were moving laser grids, red lines of light that could burn skin. Then, pits of bubbling green acid. One slip meant horrible pain. After that, giant swinging hammers. Then walls that tried to crush you. And finally, a vertical climb up a slippery metal wall. No one had ever completed it on their first try. Sergeant Krog stood on a high platform. He looked down at Illyria. His arms were crossed. His face was hard. He expected to see fear. He expected her to beg to quit. Illyria was stretching her legs. She looked calm. Too calm. A Vraxian cadet near the front whispered, "She is crazy. The first laser will burn her legs off." Another nodded. "Krog wants to make an example of her. A human does not belong here." A loud buzzer sounded. The gauntlet activated. The lasers began to move in complex patterns. The acid pits bubbled loudly. The giant hammers swung with a heavy whoosh sound. Krog's voice boomed from a speaker. "Begin!" Illyria took off. She ran towards the first laser grid. Her speed was average. Normal. The cadets watched. Some felt pity. Most felt curiosity. The first laser came from the left. Illyria saw it late. She tried to duck. The red line grazed her left arm. "Ah!" she cried out. She fell to one knee. The smell of burnt fabric and skin filled the air. She clutched her arm. The pain was sharp and hot. On the platform, Krog allowed himself a small smile. Good. Let her feel the pain. Let her understand her place. Illyria got back up. Her face was tight with pain. But her eyes were different. They were focused. Sharp. She looked at the next set of lasers. They moved in a wave. Left to right. She ran again. This time, she moved differently. Her body leaned to the side just before a laser shot past. She dropped and rolled under another. It was not graceful, but it worked. She passed the first grid without another burn. The cadets murmured. "Luck," someone said. Next were the acid pits. Narrow metal beams crossed over them. The beams were slippery. The green acid below smoked and hissed. Illyria stepped onto the first beam. She wobbled. Her arms went out to the sides for balance. She took a slow step. Then another. Halfway across. Her foot slipped. The cadets gasped. Illyria's arms wheeled in the air. For a second, she tilted dangerously toward the acid, but she threw her weight back. She fell onto the beam, hugging it tightly. Her heart pounded in her ears. She lay there for a moment. Then she began to move, not standing. She crawled, hand over hand, knee over knee. It was slow. It was ugly, but it was safe. She reached the other side. Krog's smile was gone. This was not skill. This was stubbornness. Annoying, persistent stubbornness. Now came the crushing walls. Two massive metal walls moved together, then apart, then together again. The gap was just wide enough for a person to run through. Timing was everything. Elara waited. She watched the walls. Together, apart, together, apart. She counted in her head. On the next apart, she sprinted. She was fast, but the walls were faster. They began to close. The gap narrowed. Elara was only halfway through. She would be crushed. Without thinking, she dove forward. She hit the ground hard and rolled. The walls slammed shut behind her. The sound was thunderous. A piece of her jacket, torn off, was crushed flat between the walls. She lay on the ground, breathing heavily. That was too close. But something was happening. The burn on her arm, it was itching. A lot. She looked at it. The red, angry skin was changing. It was turning a tough, gray color, like stone. The pain was fading. Her arm felt stronger. She did not have time to think. The last obstacle was in front of her, the giant spinning hammer. It was a huge metal ball on a chain. It swung in a wide, deadly circle. To pass, you had to run under it at the exact moment it was at the top of its swing. Miss the timing, and it would hit you with the force of a speeding ship. Elara stood up. Her body felt different, lighter. Her mind felt clearer. The pain was gone. She watched the hammer, swinging left, then right, left, right. She calculated its speed, its arc. Now, she ran, straight towards a swinging metal ball. The cadets held their breath. This was suicide. The hammer reached the top of its swing. For a split second, it was motionless. That was her window. But she was a step too slow. The hammer began its downswing. It was coming right for her head. There was no time to run back. Krog leaned forward. This was it, the end of the joke. Elara did not run back. She did not duck. She jumped, but not to the side. She jumped up, higher than any human should jump. Her legs pushed with strange, new power. Her hands reached for the hammer's chain as it passed over her. Thud! The hammer hit the ground where she had just been, digging a deep hole. But Elara was not there. The cadets looked around, confused. Where did she go? A small sound came from above, a soft, metallic creak. Everyone looked up. Elara was hanging from the ceiling. Her fingers were curled tightly around a metal beam. But her fingers, they looked wrong. They were curved, strong, like claws that could grip anything. She looked down at the crowd, at Krog on his platform. Her face was pale. She was breathing hard. The jump had taken everything. But then she smiled. That same strange, knowing smile from yesterday. It was tired now, but it was there, slowly. She dropped from the ceiling. She landed softly on the ground. She stood tall. She faced Krog. The entire gauntlet was behind her. She had done it. Impossible. No one spoke. No one cheered. The silence was complete. Krog stared. His mind raced. The burn that healed too fast. The jump. The grip. This was not stubbornness. This was not luck. What is she? Elara took one step forward. Then her legs buckled. The energy left her body all at once. She collapsed onto the dusty ground. Unconscious. The spell broke. Medics ran onto the field. Cadets erupted into shocked whispers. Krog stepped down from his platform. He walked slowly toward the small, fallen human. He looked at her lying there, so fragile, so weak. But he had seen it. They all had. He had called her the weakest link. But a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And this link had just bent the entire galaxy's idea of strength. The medical bay was quiet. Bright lights shone from the ceiling. The air smelled of clean metal and medicine. Elara opened her eyes. She was lying on a soft bed. White sheets covered her. Machines beeped softly beside her. Her body felt heavy, like stone. She tried to move her arm. A sharp pain shot through her shoulder. She gasped, "Do not move." A calm voice spoke. Elara turned her head. An alien stood by her bed. He was tall and thin. His skin was a gentle blue. He had large, kind black eyes. He wore a doctor's white coat. His name tag said Zen. "You have many injuries," Dr. Zen said. He checked a screen on the wall. It showed a picture of Alara's body. Red and yellow lights flashed on her arms and legs. "Your muscles are torn. Your bones are stressed. Your burns. But also something else." Elara stayed quiet. She watched him. Zen looked at her. His eyes were curious, not angry. "Your body is healing. Very fast. Too fast. It is not normal." He picked up a small scanner. He moved it over her left arm, the arm that was burned in the gauntlet. The scanner beeped. "See." Zen showed her the screen. "The burn is almost gone. New skin has grown. But the new skin, it is different. Thicker. Stronger. Your body changed it." Elara looked away. She did not want to talk about it. "Why did you jump so high?" Zen asked softly. "Humans cannot jump like that. And your fingers. They gripped the ceiling beam like claws." "How?" Elara closed her eyes. She was so tired. Her stomach felt empty. A deep, painful hunger twisted inside her. "The other cadets are talking," Zen continued. "They say you are not human. They say you are a machine. Or a monster." "I am human," Elara whispered. Her voice was rough. "Then explain," Zen said. He sat on a chair next to her bed. "I want to help you, but I need to know what is happening." Elara was silent for a long time. She remembered the gauntlet, the lasers, the acid, the crushing walls, the fear, and then the change, her body acting on its own, making her stronger, faster, but leaving her like this, empty. She opened her eyes. She looked at Zen. He seemed honest. "I grew up on a small human colony," she began, her voice low. "Far away, there was an accident, a radiation leak, a bad one. Everyone got sick. Everyone died." Zen listened carefully. "Except me," Elara said. A tear formed in her eye. She wiped it away. "I was in the hospital. The doctor said I would die too, but I did not. I got better. And after that, things were different." "Different how?" "If I get hurt, my body fixes it. But it does not just fix it." She took a shaky breath. "It makes it stronger. If I am burned, my skin grows back tougher. If my muscles are tired, they come back with more power. It is like my body learns and adapts." Zen's large eyes widened. "Adaptive evolution. At a cellular level. Incredible. But there must be a cost. Energy cannot be created. It must come from somewhere." Elara nodded slowly. The memory made her sad. "It uses my own life energy. Every time my body changes, it takes a piece of me, my lifespan. The doctors on my colony told me. Every adaptation shortens my life." Zen stared at her, his face filled with pity and horror. "You are killing yourself. To pass a test? To prove a point." "I did not want to prove anything," Elara said, her voice rising. "I just did not want to quit. I did not want him to be right." "Sergeant Krog." Elara nodded. She looked at her hands. They looked normal now, but in the gauntlet they had become tools. Weapons. "I hate that he thinks we are weak. All humans. I hate it." Zen stood up. He paced the room. "This is a great power, Elara, but also a great curse. You must be careful. If you push too hard, if you adapt too much." "I know," she whispered. Just then, the door to the medical bay slid open. Sergeant Krog walked in. He filled the doorway. His yellow eyes went straight to Elara. Dr. Zen stepped between them. "Sergeant, she needs rest." Krog ignored him. He looked at Elara. "You completed the gauntlet. I keep my word. I was wrong about you for now." Elara did not smile. She just watched him. "But one test does not make a soldier," Krog said. His voice was hard. "Strength is not just about obstacle courses. Real strength is here." He tapped his fist against his chest. "In the heart. in the will to fight another living being, to look them in the eye and not back down. Illyra felt a cold dread. What do you mean? Tomorrow, Krog said, pair combat. You will fight another cadet, hand to hand. No weapons. The last one standing wins. Illyra's heart sank. Fight? Her body was already drained. She could not adapt again. Not so soon. You cannot. Zen protested. It is too soon. She is not healed. She is healed enough, Krog said, not looking away from Illyra. You want be in the Galactic Legion? This is the Legion. We fight. We win. Or we go home. He turned to leave. At the door, he stopped. Your opponent will be Brute, my strongest cadet. He has 4 arms and a bad temper. I suggest you rest well. The door slid shut behind him. The room was silent. Illyra felt the deep hunger in her stomach grow. The tiredness in her bones was like a weight. Zen looked at her, his face full of worry. You cannot fight this Brute. You are too weak. Your body needs time to recover the energy it lost. I have to fight, Illyra said. She sat up slowly. Every movement hurt. If I quit now, everything was for nothing. He will say humans break under pressure. I cannot let that happen. But the cost, Illyra, Zen said. If your body adapts during the fight, it will take more years from your life. It is not worth it. Illyra swung her legs over the side of the bed. Her feet touched the cold floor. She stood up. Her legs trembled, but they held. What is my life worth, she asked quietly, if I spent it being called weak? She walked slowly towards the door. Each step was an effort. Where are you going? Zen asked. To eat, Illyra said. I am so hungry. And then to sleep. Tomorrow, I fight. She left the medical bay. Dr. Zen watched her go. He looked at the scanner screen. It still showed her unique biology, a body that could become anything, but at the worst price. He whispered to the empty room, What are you becoming, Illyra? A hero or a ghost? Dawn arrived. The training ground was full of noise and energy. All the cadets were there. They stood in a wide circle. In the middle, the fighting ring was marked with white paint on the dark ground. The air was tense. Everyone was talking about the fight. Brute will destroy her, a Vraxian cadet said. Did you see the gauntlet? She is not normal, another whispered back. Maybe, but Brute is a monster in the ring. He has never lost. Illyra stood at one edge of the circle. She wore simple training clothes. Her body still felt heavy from yesterday. The deep hunger was still there, a hollow feeling in her stomach. She had eaten a big meal last night. It did not help. Across the ring, Brute cracked his knuckles. He was a Gornax, a huge species. He had thick gray skin like a rock, for powerful arms, a flat face with small, mean eyes. He grinned at Illyra, showing sharp yellow teeth. Sergeant Krog stepped into the center of the ring. The crowd went silent. Rules are simple, Krog announced. His voice carried across the field. No weapons. No leaving the ring. Fight until one person cannot stand. Or until one person surrenders. He looked at Illyra. Do you understand? Illyra nodded. He looked at Brute. Brute just laughed. A rough, ugly sound. Fighters, ready? Krog shouted. Illyra took a deep breath. She raised her fists. Her arms felt weak. Brute lowered his body. His forearms spread out wide, blocking any escape. Begin! Brute moved first. He was fast for his size. He rushed forward. All 4 fists came at Illyra like hammers. Illyra tried to dodge. She stepped to the side, but she was slow. Too slow. One of Brute's fists caught her on the shoulder. Thump. The impact was huge. Illyra cried out. Pain exploded in her shoulder. She stumbled back. The crowd roared. Brute did not stop. He swung again. A left hook. Illyra ducked. The fist missed her head by an inch. The wind from it blew her hair. She tried to hit back. She punched Brute's stomach. Her fist hit his hard skin. It was like hitting a wall. Brute did not even flinch. He just grinned wider. This is a fight. Brute taunted. This is a tickle. He grabbed her with two of his arms. His huge hands closed around her waist. He lifted her off the ground. Elara struggled. She kicked her legs. It was useless. Brute threw her across the ring. Elara hit the ground hard. The air rushed out of her lungs. She gasped, unable to breathe. Stars danced in her eyes. The cadets cheered for Brute. "Finish her," someone yelled. Krog watched, his face unreadable. Elara pushed herself up to her knees. Her whole body hurt. Her shoulder was on fire. She could feel something happening inside her, a familiar tingling, starting in her injured shoulder, spreading down her arm. No, she thought. Not again. Not so soon. But her body did not listen. It was scared. It was hurt, and it wanted to survive. Brute walked towards her, taking his time, enjoying the moment. Elara stood up. She looked at her shoulder. The skin where Brute hit her was changing. It was turning darker, gray. The texture became rough, like stone. The sharp pain faded to a dull ache. Brute stopped. He saw it too. His small eyes narrowed. What trick is this? He charged again. This time, he aimed a powerful punch straight at her chest. Elara could not get out of the way in time. She raised her arms to block. Crack! The sound of fists hitting hard skin echoed. But it was not the sound of breaking bones. It was the sound of a hammer hitting rock. Brute yelled in surprise. He pulled his hand back. He shook it. His knuckles were red. He had hurt himself. Elara looked at her arms. The gray, rocky skin now covered both her forearms, like natural shields. The pain was gone. The crowd fell silent. What was happening? Brute got angry. His face turned dark. "You freak," he roared. He attacked with all four arms. Punches came from everywhere. Left, right, high, low. Elara moved. She was faster now. Her body felt lighter. Her mind was clear. She blocked punch after punch with her stony arms. Each block sent a shock through Brute, but she barely felt it. She saw an opening. Brute's right side was open. She stepped in and punched his ribs. This time, her fist did not feel weak. It felt solid, heavy. Thud. Brute grunted. He took a step back. Surprise flashed on his face. Elara did not stop. She pushed forward. A left punch. A right punch. Each hit landed with more force. Brute blocked with two arms, but the other two waved wildly. The cadets watched in stunned silence. The weak human was fighting back, and winning. Brute was getting frustrated. He swung a wild, powerful hook aimed at Alara's head. She saw it coming. Instead of blocking, she ducked under it. She came up inside his guard. She drove her fist into his stomach with all her strength. Oof! Brute's breath left him in a whoosh. He doubled over. For a second, he was vulnerable. Elara pulled her arm back for a final hit. Then it happened. A wave of dizziness hit her. The world spun. Her vision blurred. The strength left her arms. The gray, rocky skin faded away, turning back to normal soft skin. The adaptation had taken too much energy. Her body was shutting down. She staggered. Her legs wobbled. Brute saw his chance. Through his pain, he grinned. He stood up straight. With a roar, he grabbed Elara with all four arms. He lifted her high above his head. Elara struggled, but she had no strength left. Brute slammed her down onto the hard ground. Crunch. The sound was sickening. Elara did not make a sound. She lay completely still. Her eyes were closed. The crowd was dead silent. Brute stood over her, breathing heavily. He raised a fist in victory. But no one cheered. Sergeant Krog walked into the ring. He looked down at Alara's still body. Then he looked at Brute. There was no approval in his eyes, only cold disappointment. "The fight is over," Krog announced. His voice was flat. Medics ran into the ring with a stretcher. They carefully lifted Elara onto it. Her arm lay at a wrong angle, broken. As they carried her away, Krog looked at the shocked faces of his cadets. They had seen something today, something that broke the rules. He had wanted to break her spirit, but instead, he had unleashed something that smiled when it was hurt, Something that changed when it was attacked. And as the medics took the broken human away, Krog felt a chill. This was not the end. It was only the beginning. Illyra's world was pain. A deep, throbbing pain in her arm. A hollow, aching pain in her chest. She floated in and out of sleep in the medical bay. Machines beeped softly. The lights were dim. Dr. Zen worked quietly beside her bed. His blue hands were gentle as he fixed a cast around her broken arm. His face was tight with worry. "The bone is cleanly broken," he said softly, more to himself than to her. "It will heal, but the energy depletion, your body has nothing left to give. You must rest for weeks. No more fights." Illyra did not answer. Her eyes were closed. She felt heavy, empty, like a cup with no bottom. The door slid open with a sharp hiss. Sergeant Krog walked in. His boots sounded loud on the clean floor. He stopped at the foot of her bed. He did not look at Zen. His yellow eyes were fixed on Illyra. "You fought," he said. His voice was different. Not loud, not angry, almost thoughtful. "You did not run. You did not quit, even when you had no chance." Illyra opened her eyes. She looked at him. She saw no mockery in his face. "I lost," she whispered. Her throat was dry. "You face a stronger opponent. And you made him afraid," Krog said. He paused. "That is a kind of victory." He turned to leave. Then he stopped. He spoke without looking back. "When you are healed, your training will continue. Not as a joke, but as a cadet." The door slid shut behind him. Zen let out a breath he did not know he was holding. "Did he just praise you?" Before Illyra could answer, a loud, blaring alarm cut through the quiet. Whoop! 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 Red lights flashed on the ceiling. The ground shook. A voice boomed from the speakers, loud and frantic. "Alert! Intruders! All cadets to defense positions. This is not a drill." Zen's large black eyes widened in fear. "Attack? Here? Impossible." The alarm kept screaming. They heard distant shouts. The sound of laser fire. Pew! Pew! Crack! "The weapons locker!" A voice yelled from the hallway. "They are taking the weapons." "Cadets, form a line." It was Krog's voice, roaring above the chaos. Illyra tried to sit up. Pain shot through her arm and chest. "We have to help." "You cannot move," Zen said, pushing her back gently. "You are in no condition." A huge explosion rocked the building. The wall of the medical bay cracked. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights flickered and went out. The emergency lights came on, casting a dim red glow. The sounds of fighting grew closer. Grunts, cries of pain, the ugly sound of metal hitting flesh. Then, suddenly, the door to the medical bay exploded inward. 3 figures stood in the smoky doorway. They were not cadets. They were pirates. Ragged armor, dirty faces, greedy eyes. They carried heavy laser rifles. The lead pirate, a big one with a scar across his face, grinned. He pointed his rifle at Zen. "You, doctor, you come with us. Our boss pays good money for smart medics." Zen stood frozen. "The human, too," another pirate said, a thin one with sharp teeth. He pointed at Illyra on the bed. "The one who changes. The boss will want to see that. A living weapon." Fear, cold and sharp, stabbed Illyra's heart. They knew about her. "No!" Zen shouted, stepping in front of her bed. The lead pirate just laughed. He swung his rifle like a club. It hit Zen on the head. The doctor crumpled to the floor without a sound. "Zen!" Illyra cried. The thin pirate walked to her bed. He grabbed her by her good arm and yanked her off the bed. She screamed as pain tore through her broken arm. Her legs gave way. She fell to the cold floor. "Walk, or I drag you," the pirate sneered. They pulled her and the unconscious Zern into the hallway. The academy was a war zone. Cadets were fighting pirates in the halls. But the pirates were winning. They were too many, too organized. Illyra saw Krog at the end of the hall. He was fighting 2 pirates at once, using a broken pipe as a weapon. He saw her. Their eyes met for a second. She saw his rage, his helplessness. A pirate hit him from behind, and he went down. Her heart sank. Krog was down. The academy was falling. The pirates dragged him outside into the cold night air. A ugly, rusty pirate ship sat on the landing field. Its ramp was down. More pirates were loading stolen weapons and supplies. They threw Zen and Alara into a dark, smelly cargo hold. The door slammed shut, plunging them into darkness. The ship's engines roared to life. The floor vibrated. Alara lay in the dark, her broken arm screaming. Zen was still out cold beside her. She heard the pirates laughing outside the door. The Galactic Legion's best. Ha! Easy picking. The boss will be happy. New slaves. New toys. Alara closed her eyes. She was captured. Broken. Her friends were defeated. Krog was down. Hope was gone. But deep inside her empty body, a tiny spark flickered. A memory of lasers, of acid, of a giant hammer swinging, of her body changing to survive. They thought she was a toy, a slave. They thought she was weak. Her eyes opened in the dark. The pain was still there. The fear was still there. But underneath it, something old stirred. Something primal. The will to survive. The thing that had kept her alive when her whole colony died. Her body was broken, but it was a body that knew how to fix itself. It knew how to change. It would take a price. A terrible price. More of her precious life. But what was the point of a long life if it was spent in a pirate cage? In the darkness of the hold, Alara slowly, painfully, pushed herself up to sit. She leaned against the cold metal wall. She looked at her broken arm in its cast. She thought of Krog's words. You made him afraid. She breathed in the stale air. She made a choice. She would not be a slave. She would not be a toy. She would be the monster they feared. A small, tired, but determined smile touched her lips. The same smile that had terrified a drill sergeant. The ship flew through space, taking her to the pirate boss, to her new cage. But Alara was no longer a prisoner. She was a bomb, and she was ready to explode. The pirate ship landed with a rough shake. The engines died with a groan. The heavy door of the cargo hold screeched open. Bright, harsh light flooded the dark space. Two pirates stood in the doorway. They grabbed Alara and Dr. Zen. They dragged them out of the ship. Alara blinked in the light. They were in a huge, dirty hangar. It was inside an asteroid. The air smelled of oil and sweat. Other pirate ships, old and damaged, sat around them. Rough-looking aliens worked on machines. They all stopped to stare. The pirates pulled them across the hangar. They went through a heavy metal door, then down a long, dark hallway. The walls were rough rock. They passed cells with bars. Sad faces watched them from the shadows. Other captives. Finally, they reached the big room. It looked like a throne room made from junk. Wires hung from the ceiling. Screens showed security camera views. In the middle of the room, on a chair made of old ship parts, sat the pirate boss. His name was Vrax. He was big, bigger than Krog. He had green, scaly skin. One of his eyes was gone, replaced by a glowing red camera. He smiled. It was not a nice smile. Well, Vrax said. His voice was like rocks grinding together. The famous human, the one who changes. He stood up and walked toward Alara. He moved slowly like a predator. He circled her. Alara stood still. Her broken arm in its cast hung by her side. Dr. Zen stood next to her, awake now but pale with fear. I heard stories, Vrax said. He stopped in front of her. A human girl, breaks the rules, changes her skin, fights like a beast. He leaned close, his bad-eye word. Show me. Alara said nothing. She just looked at the floor. Vrax laughed. He turned to his pirates. She is shy. Bring the other one. The doctor. Maybe he can make her perform. Two pirates grabbed Zen. They held him tight. Vrax pulled out a long, sharp knife from his belt. The metal gleamed in the dim light. He put the point of the knife against Zen's throat. Change, Vrax said to Alara, his voice cold. Show me your trick, or I paint the floor with your friend's blood. Alara's heart hammered against her ribs. She looked at Zen's terrified face. She looked at the knife. Her mind raced. Her body was still weak. Empty. To change now would cost her so much life. Maybe years. But she saw Zen's kind eyes. He had helped her. He was her only friend. She closed her eyes. She took a deep breath. She reached inside herself. To that dark, hidden place. The place where her power lived. The place that took pieces of her soul as payment. Protect him, she thought. It started as a tingling in her good hand. Then it became a burning. She opened her eyes and looked at her hand. The skin was changing color, turning dark gray. The texture became rough, like stone. But it did not stop there. The fingernails grew longer, sharper. They curved into black, vicious claws. The pirates, watching, gasped. Vrax's smile grew wider. Good. Very good. The change spread up her arm. The gray, rocky skin covered her shoulder. Then it moved across her chest, down her other arm. The cast on her broken arm cracked and fell off in pieces. Underneath, the broken bone was already knitting itself together, covered in the same tough, gray armor. Energy drained from her core. A deep, sickening emptiness filled her stomach. Her vision swam for a second. The price, she thought. I am paying the price. But she did not stop. She stood up straight. She was now covered in plates of natural, stone-like armor. Her hands were deadly claws. She looked at Vrax. Her eyes glowed with a faint, dangerous light. Vrax laughed, amazed. He took the knife away from Zen's throat. Incredible. A living weapon. Do you see this? We will be rich. We will sell her to the highest bidder. He stepped toward Elara, reaching out to touch her armored shoulder. That was his mistake. Elara moved. She was a blur of gray. She swiped her clawed hand. Swish. Crunch. Vrax screamed. He stumbled back, clutching his arm. Where her claws had touched, his green scales were torn. Dark blood welled up. The room erupted into chaos. Get her! Vrax roared, his face twisted in pain and rage. Pirates rushed at Elara from all sides. They had clubs. They had knives. Elara's mind was clear. Cold. She did not think. Her body acted. It knew how to survive. A pirate swung a club at her head. She ducked. Her clawed hand shot out. She did not cut him. She grabbed the club and snapped it in two. She kicked him in the stomach. He flew across the room. Another pirate came from behind. She sensed him. She spun. Her elbow, now covered in a sharp, bony spike, hit his chest. He fell. She was not fighting to kill. She was fighting to escape, to protect Zen. But she was tired. So tired. Every movement cost her. The gray armor on her skin felt heavier and heavier. Her breaths came in short gasps. Elara, behind you. Zen yelled. A pirate had a laser pistol. He aimed it at her back. Elara dove to the side. The laser bolt sizzled past her, hitting the wall. She rolled and came up in front of the pirate. Before he could fire again, she knocked the gun from his hand. It clattered across the floor. She was surrounded. More pirates poured into the room. Too many. Vrax stood by his throne, holding his wounded arm. His red camera eye glowed with hate. Taser nets. Now! Two pirates at the back threw a large, glowing net. It flew through the air towards Elara. It was made of electric wires. If it touched her, she would be stunned. She had nowhere to go. In that final second, she looked at Zen. She gave him a small, sad smile. I tried. Then a new sound filled the room. Boom! The heavy metal door to the throne room exploded inward. Through the smoke, figures charged in. They wore the familiar armor of the Galactic Legion. Cadets! And at the front, a giant with 4 arms, swinging a metal pipe like a club. Sergeant Krog. Legion attack. Krog roared. A real battle began. Legion cadets clashed with pirates. Laser fire filled the air. Krog fought his way toward Vrax. In confusion, Zern crawled to Elara. The net. Roll. Elara used the last of her strength to roll aside. The net landed where she had just been, sparking on the floor. Krog reached Vrax. The pirate boss was strong, but he was hurt. Krog was a storm of rage. For the humiliation. For his captured cadets. Their fight was brutal and short. With a final, powerful swing, Krog's pipe connected with Vrax's head. The pirate boss fell and did not get up. Seeing their leader fall, the remaining pirates lost their will to fight. They threw down their weapons. It was over. The hangar fell quiet, except for the moans of the hurt. Krog stood over Vrax's body, breathing hard. Then he turned. His eyes searched the room. They found Alara. She was on her knees. The gray armor was fading from her skin. The claws shrank back into normal fingers. Her body was returning to normal, exposed, weak. The cost of the change was written on her face. She looked older, tired in a way sleep could not fix. Krog walked to her. He looked down at her. He saw the broken cast on the floor. He saw her normal, human hands shaking with exhaustion. He did not say, "Well done." He did not call her strong. Slowly, carefully, Sergeant Krog did something no cadet had ever seen. He bent down on one knee. He was so big. Even on his knee, he was almost at her eye level. He looked at her, his yellow eyes serious. "Alara of Earth," he said, his voice low and rough with respect. "The Legion owes you a debt." Behind him, every cadet who could stand stopped what they were doing. They turned. They looked at the small human girl, and their fierce drill sergeant kneeling before her. One by one, they placed their fists over their hearts. The Legion salute. Alara looked around at them. At Zen, smiling through his tears. At the cadets, their faces no longer showing mockery, but respect. At Krog, who now saw not a weak human, but a soldier. She was home. She tried to smile, but she was too tired. Her eyes closed. She fell forward. Krog caught her before she hit the ground. He lifted her carefully in his 4 strong arms, as if she were made of glass. "Medic," he barked. "Now!" As they carried her away to help, the cadets kept their salutes high. The legend was not about how hard she could be hit. It was about how much she could sacrifice and still get back up. The weakest link had become their strongest weapon, and her story was just... The medical bay on the Legion ship was quiet, clean, peaceful. The only sounds were the soft beeps of monitors. Alara slept. Her face was pale. Small lines of tiredness were around her eyes. The brown hair on her temples had strands of white, new white. She looked older than her years. Dr. Zen sat beside her bed. He watched the screen showing her life signs. Her heart was strong. Her body was healing. But the numbers for her cellular energy were dangerously low. He frowned. The price was steep. The door slid open. Sergeant Krog walked in. His steps were quiet. He stood on the other side of the bed. He looked at Alara. He did not look like the angry drill sergeant now. He looked like a soldier who had seen something that changed him. "Will she live?" Krog asked. His voice was a low rumble. Zen nodded slowly. "Yes, her body heals itself. It is a miracle." He paused, his blue face serious. "But every miracle has a cost. With every change, she burns her own life energy. She is shortening her life, Sergeant. Every fight, every adaptation. It takes years from her." Krog was silent for a long time. He looked at Alara's sleeping face. The white hairs. The young face already touched by time. He remembered her smile on the first day. A smile that defied him. A smile that hid this great, terrible secret. Can it be stopped? Krog asked. "No," Zen said softly. "It is part of her now. The radiation changed her DNA forever. She is a candle that burns twice as bright, but lasts half as long." Krog finished the old human saying he understood. He had spent his life valuing strength, physical power, endurance. But here was a different strength. The strength to spend yourself for others. The courage to trade your future for someone else's present. It was a strength he had never taught. A strength that humbled him. "She will want to train again," Zen said. "She will want to be a soldier." "I know," Krog said. "You cannot let her," Zen said, his voice urgent. "Every session, Every hard drill. It will trigger her adaptation. It will kill her faster. Krog looked at the doctor. His yellow eyes were firm. If I stop her, I break her spirit. That would kill her faster. She did not come here to be safe. She came here to matter. Zen looked down. He knew it was true. Illyra's eyes fluttered open. She blinked. She saw the white ceiling. Then she turned her head. She saw Krog and Zen. For a moment, she looked confused. Then she remembered. The pirate base. The fight. The cost. She tried to sit up. Her body felt stiff. Heavy. Do not move, Zen said gently. The others... Illyra's voice was a whisper. The cadets. All safe, Krog said. Because of you. Illyra relaxed a little. She looked at Krog. You came for us. A legion never leaves its own behind, Krog said. It was the highest praise. Silence filled the room. Illyra looked at her hands. They were normal again. Soft. Human. She curled her fingers. They felt weak. I cannot stay in bed, she said. You must rest, Zen insisted. For how long? Illyra asked. She looked at Krog. A week? A month? And then what? I go back to being the weak human in the corner? Krog leaned forward. You were never weak. We were blind. Then do not treat me like I am broken now, Illyra said. Her voice grew stronger. My body has a curse, but it is also a gift. I can use it. I can control it. But I need to learn. I need to train. The right way. Krog studied her. He saw the fire in her eyes. The same fire that made her smile while standing on the gravity pad. The fire that refused to go out. What are you asking? Krog said. Train me. Illyra said. Not to break me, but to teach me. Teach me how to use this gift. How to fight without changing unless I have to. How to be strong without burning my life away. Zen looked worried. It is too dangerous. My whole life is dangerous, Zen, Illyra said softly, looking at her friend. I can hide and live a long, quiet life, watching others protect the galaxy. Or I can stand up. I can use what I have. I choose to stand up. She looked back at Krog. Will you help me? Sergeant Krog, the toughest drill sergeant in the Galactic Legion, looked at the small human girl. He saw the white in her hair. He saw the age in her young eyes. He saw the unwavering spirit. He saw a soldier. He stood up straight. He gave a single, sharp nod. Report to training ground tomorrow at 0600, Krog said, his drill sergeant voice returning. We start with control, not strength. Control. A real smile, warm and true, spread across Illyra's face for the first time. It was not the eerie smile of secret power. It was a smile of purpose, of belonging. Yes, Sergeant, she said. Krog turned and walked to the door. He stopped before leaving. He did not look back. And Illyra, he said, do not be late. The door slid shut behind him. Zen sighed. He knew he could not win this argument. You are the most stubborn human in the galaxy. Illyra's smile softened. I know. Thank you, Zen, for being my friend. The next morning, the sun rose over the crucible. The training ground was full of cadets. They were not laughing. They were not mocking. They stood in respectful silence. Illyra walked onto the field. She wore her training clothes. Her hair was tied back. The white strands were clearly visible. She walked to the center, where Sergeant Krog waited. All eyes were on her. Krog looked at the cadets. Today, we learn a new lesson, he announced, his voice echoing. Strength is not about how much you can destroy. It is about how much you can control. Watch and learn. He turned to Illyra. The gravity pad, level 1. Illyra walked to the same pad where she had fallen on her first day. She stepped onto it. The gravity increased. She felt a familiar weight. Her legs trembled, but she did not fall. She took a breath. She focused. She did not let her body panic. She did not let it change. She used only her natural human strength. Her will. She took one step. Then another. Slow. Steady. She crossed the pad without falling. Without adapting. The cadets watched, amazed. It was a simple act, but it was more impressive than any transformation. It was pure control will. Krog nodded. Good. Now hand-to-hand drills. With me. Elara faced Krog. He towered over her. He raised his hands. Defend. Do not attack. Do not adapt. Just defend. Krog threw a slow, careful punch. Elara moved her arm to block it. The impact stung, but she held her ground. She did not let her skin turn to stone. Another punch. She dodged this time. For 5 minutes, she defended. She used her mind, her training, not her curse. She was sweating. She was tired, but she was in control. Finally, Krog stepped back. Enough. Elara stood, breathing hard. Her body ached, but it was a normal ache, the ache of hard work, not the empty ache of stolen life. Krog looked at his cadets. This is control. This is true strength. Remember this. He dismissed them. The cadets walked away, talking in low, respectful voices. Elara stood alone in the middle of the field. She looked at her hands. They were just hands. She looked up at the sky. For the first time, she felt like she belonged here, not as a monster, not as a weapon, but as a cadet, as a soldier. Her journey was not over. The curse was still inside her. The price was still there, but she was no longer its victim. She was its master. She was Elara of Earth, the girl who changed, the soldier who chose to stand. And her legend was just beginning.